All right, guys, we're going to take a little break from the action today. We got Dr. Todd Osborne from Whitney Labs, the mind behind the clam restoration project going on here in the Indian River Lagoon system. We're 5 years strong now. Everybody's wanting updates. They want to know survivability. They want to know where the clam beds are. We're going to keep that a secret, but they want to be able to see where the clam beds are. We'll show you pictures and everything. But so far to date, what are we looking at?
Well, so far we've planted 40 million clams in the IRL. Now that's counting about 27 million adults, and then another 13 plus million seed clams. And like today, we put out 2 million, right? So we're cooking along, and I'm very proud of the fact that we're seeing evidence in the water column every spring that the clams that we've been putting out are spawning, because we see their veligers, their larvae, in the water column all around the IRL close to our sites. We know that it's working.
They weren't 5 years ago.
They weren't at all, exactly. So we know that we're having an impact. Hopefully nature's amplifying the work that we're doing, and you know, we might see 1 billion clams faster than we thought.
We hope so. Yeah, I was on my way down to the Indian River Coalition meeting the other day, and J.J. Ross, Justin Ross, Jim Ross's son, sent me a picture with some little clams.
Yeah, fantastic.
It was just south of where we had put the clams out 3 years ago. So that tells us it's working, because there were no clams there 5 years ago. They went for 30 days.
Yeah, we had almost 2 months of field work with a team of 3 and sometimes 4 people out, scratching around all the places, historic places that we thought, you know, and we were told were great clam areas, and we found 39 clams. I mean, that was back in 2018, and I mean, you know, without those 39, we wouldn't have our program. But 39 clams in 2 months? That's terrible.
In areas where I used to go out with a 5-gallon bucket in 15 minutes, have enough clams for a week, bait and to eat. So we're 5 years strong, and right behind us now is the very first clam bed that we put out. And we're gonna jump in the water and do some inspecting and see how big they are. These were adults when
they went out about 15 millimeters, you know, maybe 20 millimeters, and I expect they're going to be quite a bit bigger now.
Now, the process of doing this, we put them in bags when they're just little tiny. Go ahead and give everybody the process.
So they start out, and we call them seed clams when they're small, like the ones that we put out with the drone. You know, 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters in size. They come out of the hatchery and they go into big mesh bags. And then when they get up to about 15 millimeters, and that takes almost 1.5 years, right, from beginning to adult size. Then we pull them out, we take them out, we broadcast, and we cover them with a thin cover net just to keep the predation down as much as we could. And they stay there in perpetuity. You know, now after 4 or 5 years, it's time to pull the nets and let it be, because they're so big, very few things can really eat them now. Just the biggest stingrays, just the biggest drum would have to come up here and really root these guys out.
Yeah, like I say, we're at it 5 years now, and this year we have a new initiative. It's called the Million Clam Initiative. CCA has teamed up with us, and we're going to try to put 1 billion clams out. And so far, we are well on the way. And the reason we're doing the seed clams, we're doing that to overcome the predation. And you're not looking for a big percentage of survival.
No, and it's actually more economically feasible to put out way more small clams than we need. You know, our target may be 1 million clams. Maybe we put out 6 or 7 million seed clams. It's still less expensive than growing all the adults. And you know, one of the benefits, people, you know, often said, well, you're just going to feed the fish. Yes, we're absolutely going to feed some fish. We're going to feed some crabs. We're going to feed all kinds of things with this, and that's the natural role of the clam in the estuary.
And
so it's a food source.
With the drone, we're able to give the clams an actual 8-month, 9-month head start on life, because when we put them in the water, they already have their hard shells, and bam, they go right in, and they start filtering immediately when they go in. No wait time for them to get a certain size. They're filtering immediately and growing. And like Dr. Todd said, overcoming the predation out there. Everything likes to eat them, especially when they're little larvae, from minnows to other little larva stuff out there that eats them in the water column. But they're very fragile, and with the storm water that happens, we could get an influx of fresh water right when we get a big rainstorm, and then all the effort that the clams just did with that spawn, pretty much all for naught, because the fresh water kills it. But since they already have the hard shells, they can do what a clam does best, and that's clam up and wait for the water to get right. And usually it takes 2 or 3 days for a 3-4 inch rainstorm, which is normal in the summertime, for that water to level back out and get the salinity right for them to come up and feed. So goal of it is to get our water clear like it is right now.
Yes, we want to see this year round, right?
So we get the grass growing, and I think we're going to get in the water here. We got to get the mics off, so we're going to jump in the water, show you a couple of big clams from our very first clam planting, and Dr. Todd Osborne, man.
Hey.
Without this guy in CCA, it could not have been done. So and we always ask for donations. Everybody always says, well, we'll come out and volunteer to plant clams. As you see, we got a drone that does it now. We can put out 2 million clams in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was quick.
And what we really need is funding. It takes about $10 million
To do a billion clams,
to do
right?
a billion clams. So any donation at all, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do, go to our website, irlclamproject.com. I'm sorry, irlclamproject.org, or to CCA's website. There's a donate button right there, and 100% of
Absolutely.
the proceeds goes right back in the water. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.